Welcome to City on a Hill Kids Church Online.
I'm Lola.
And I'm Jamie. Today we have a guest, our friend. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Karis.
Karis, do you know what a prophecy is?
Of course I do.
What is it then?
A prophecy is saying something now that will happen in the future.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, we'll learn a little bit more about this after a time of worship.
The Bible is a wonderful and interesting book, or shall I say library. It contains 66 books written by 40 people over a period of about 1,500 years. Despite the long span in which it was written, and the number of people that wrote it, the volume of the book is about one person, Jesus Christ. The real author of the Bible, though, is the Holy Spirit, and he allowed 40 people to write down what he said in the way they wanted to write it down, in their own style, in their own way. The very interesting thing about it is that the Bible contains things that are written that will happen way ahead, or not too far ahead. That is called prophecy. The Bible is full of prophecy. Now, let me read something to you from the Bible. It comes from the book of Zechariah. Zechariah 9, verse 9. Rejoice, rejoice, people of Zion. Shout for joy, you people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He comes triumphant and victorious, but humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. Believe it or not, that is a prophecy about the coming of Jesus Christ. Zechariah wrote it more than 400 years before Jesus came to be on this earth. So when Zechariah wrote it, it was prophecy for him, and for the people who heard it and read it at the time, it was prophecy to them too. But for us, it's history because it's already happened. There are so many other places in the Bible that talk about the coming of Jesus Christ. I'm going to read another one for you. This is taken from the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 9, verse 6. And it reads this way. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This is one of the verses that is said around Christmas time, talking about the birth of Jesus Christ and who he is. In another book of the Bible, it tells us exactly where Jesus Christ is born. It comes from the book of Micah, Micah chapter 5, verse 2. And it reads this way. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me the one to be ruler of Israel, whose goings forth are from of old, from everlasting. Essentially, what that means is that a place called Bethlehem is a place where the ruler of the Israelites is going to come from. And this person was from way back. That's exactly what that means. Do you remember the story that we talked about around Christmas? It's the one when the wise men came from the east to Jerusalem and they met King Herod and they asked, where is he who is born King of the Jews? For we saw his star and we have come to worship him. Do you remember that? Well, Herod went to the scribes and to the priests to ask them to look into the scriptures to find out where this king was going to be born. The scribes and the priests, they told Herod that it was in Bethlehem, and they found that in Micah chapter 5 verse 2, the one that we've just read. And then Herod told the wise men and asked them to go and look for the person that was born King of the Jews. So even the way Jesus was born was a miracle in itself, And the Bible tells us that ever before it happened. So he was born, and then he grew up. And when he grew up, he had disciples. He did, and he taught lots and lots of things. Again, his disciples wrote all these down, and today we read them. Now, one of the things that Jesus told his disciples was that he was going to be crucified in Jerusalem, and that on the third day he would rise. As a matter of fact, he rode into Jerusalem just before he was crucified, and he rode on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey, just like how it was predicted by Zechariah 9:9. At the time, his disciples didn't understand what Jesus was talking about. This is something that he told them before it happened. Prophecy. But for us, it's history because it's already happened. You know, we celebrate the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. He died, taking the punishment that we were supposed to have had. That is, the punishment of our sins. Remember, he didn't stay dead. He rose again. He was alive. And when he rose, he was seen by more than 500 people for about 40 days. And then his disciples watched him as he was taken to heaven in a cloud. And they continued to stare. They stared so much because he had disappeared from their sight. And then two men came dressed in white and said to them, "You men of Galilee, why are you looking up into the sky? This Jesus that you have seen that has gone up, he's going to return just in the same way." Let me read it exactly how it's written in the Bible for you. It comes from Acts chapter 1, verses 9 to 11. It says, "After this, while the disciples were watching, Jesus was taken up to heaven, and a cloud received him out of their sight. While they were watching him intently into heaven, as they couldn't see him anymore, two men dressed in white apparel stood by them and said, 'Men of Galilee, why do you stand gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus who was taken up from you into heaven will so come in like manner as you saw him go into heaven.'" Now that's just a teeny weeny bit about prophecy. That is the prophecy about Jesus' coming. Actually, there are over 300 prophecies about Jesus' coming in the Bible. For us, many of them are history because they've already happened. But there is still just one that we've just talked about that hasn't yet happened. And that's the one where we talked about the two men who were with the disciples and asked why they were looking up into heaven. That Jesus, as they've seen him go up to heaven, that's how he's going to come back again. That means that Jesus is coming back again. And he hasn't come just yet. That's prophecy. There are many other places in the Bible that prophesy about Jesus' second coming. But those are readings for another day. And that's the end of the story.
Hi guys, how are you doing? Isn't it cool the way God prophesies things in the Bible? So he says stuff, maybe in the Old Testament, that then comes true in the New Testament, or he said stuff in the New Testament that will come true in our future. And I bet you all already knew that story of Jesus riding into Jerusalem on his donkey, coming as the king. But did you know before that it was prophesied in Zechariah chapter 9 verse 9? Cool, huh? So I thought, to help us remember, we would make these cute little toilet roll donkeys. So these are so simple to make. All you need is toilet roll, some pens or pencils, scissors, and then sellotape or glue. So to start with, you need to make the legs. And to do that, you need to cut four arches, this shape, cutting out around the bottom of your toilet roll tube. Now, don't make them too big, or else you'll find that you haven't got space to do 4, and then your donkey would end up with 3 legs, and you don't want that. So get those cut out, and these sections that you're cutting off, we're going to be able to use to make the other parts. So there we are. Here we have the legs. Now, this is a bit tall for a donkey. I don't know if you can see. So what you want to then do is just cut off at whatever height you think you want your donkey to be. And there we have your donkey body. Now, with these leftover pieces, what we need to do is make the head and the ears and the tail. So to make the head, what you want to do is draw a sort of a big section, a big kind of circle to be like his nose and mouth bit, I suppose. And if you do 2 little lines down to make the nose, and then if you give him some eyes, and then let's give him a happy mouth. I think the donkey who carried Jesus into Jerusalem was probably a happy donkey. Now, you could just have your head like that. With this one, I actually stuck an extra section on the top because I felt it was a bit small. So what you could do is take one of these sections and just cut out so that you can give a slightly domed head. Whatever you do at the top, give him a little tuft of hair, and that's just us seeing the very front of his mane that would go down the back of his head. Now then you need to cut out 2 ears, so the pieces that you cut out for the legs are almost the right shape actually, they just need shaped a little bit. And if you want to, you can colour the inside of your ears in maybe pink. That's often the colour that we have for inside of ears. I don't know if donkeys' ears are really pink on the inside, but that does seem to be what we would expect. So once you've got all the pieces of the head, you want to stick them together. So stick the ears on and then stick the whole lot onto the front of your donkey. So I'll just do that. I've got some tape ready. You can obviously be a little more careful so that you get him looking just perfect. I'm doing mine quite fast to show you. Whoops. Well, I'm trying to do it quite fast. There we go. Right, so we've got our donkey head stuck on, and he's a bit floppy. I think he needs a bit of sellotape at the front as well. I don't want his head falling over. There we go. So here we have our donkey. Now, around the bottom to make the hooves, I've just coloured in grey at the very bottom of each foot. So we'll do that. Give him nice strong hooves. And then the final thing that I gave him was a tail, I think. All self-respecting donkeys want to have a tail. So I've got this whole bit here. So I'll just cut a strip. Now that's far too long. I don't think donkeys have a very long tail. And then at the end, I'll just cut a little fringe. There we go. And we'll stick that on at the back, where his bottom would be. And there we have it. Our little donkey ready to carry King Jesus into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, as was prophesied by Zechariah all of those years before. So it's a fun craft and it's a good reminder of the way God speaks to us. Okay, well, I hope you enjoy making a donkey, and if you wanted, you could make all sorts of other animals in the same way. Okay, I'll see you again soon. Bye!
I told you I knew what a prophecy is.
Yes, you did. All prophecies in the Bible are from God, and all of them come true. 100%.
That's right. Today we learned that there are over 300 prophecies in the Bible, talking about the coming of Jesus Christ. And you know, these prophecies actually start in the book of Genesis and end in the book of Revelation.
Talking about books, I knew there were 66 books in the Bible, but I never considered it as a library.
Yes, the Bible is a collection of books.
That's interesting.
Yes. Karis, thank you so much for joining us, and I really hope you can join us another time.
I'm sure I will.
That's it for this week.
Till next time.
Bye!